You know, there comes a moment in life when you look around and realize that nobody really believes in you. Not your friends, not your family, not your teachers. Sometimes not even the person staring back at you in the mirror. It's that gut punching moment when doubt becomes louder than your dreams. But it's also the moment that can ignite something far more powerful than anyone's approval. The fire to prove everyone wrong. You see, the most dangerous thing people can do to you isn't to reject you, it's to underestimate you. Because when they underestimate you, they give you a gift, the gift of hunger, the gift of drive, the gift of obsession. They hand you the very fuel that can make you unstoppable. Let me tell you something, the greatest revenge is not anger, it's not proving them wrong with words, it's building such a life, such results, such an identity. That silence becomes your loudest response. You don't need to talk about what you're going to do. You show it. You become it. You live it. Every champion you've ever admired was once doubted. Every success story started as a joke to someone else. People laughed at them, ignored them, told them they weren't enough. And do you know what they did? They didn't argue. They didn't fight for validation. They went to work in silence, in pain and faith. They turned rejection into redirection. They turned you can't into watch me. You have to understand, greatness is not born from comfort. It's born from pressure, from resistance, from every moment you were told no. You will be tempted to believe the opinions of others. You will be tempted to lower your standards, to give up, to fit in. But that's not who you are. You're not here to be average. You're not here to be liked. You're here to leave a mark. There will be nights when you question if it's worth it, when no one claps, when progress feels invisible. But those are the nights that define you, because it's easy to keep going when the crowd is cheering. It's when it's just you, your vision, and your pain. That's when the transformation begins. That's when you build the muscle that no one sees. I want you to remember something. Nobody who ever achieved greatness did it without being told they couldn't. Every no you hear is just the universe testing your commitment. Every doubt thrown your way is a mirror asking, how bad do you want it? You say you want to prove them wrong. Then stop talking and start becoming. Start showing up earlier. Stay later. Push harder. Outwork every doubt. Outlast every fear. Because success doesn't go to the most talented. It goes to the most relentless. The truth is, you don't need their belief. You don't need their permission. You don't need anyone to say you're ready. You decide you're ready. You declare it through your actions. You keep moving even when the path is unclear. You trust your struggle. You trust your growth. You trust that your pain has a purpose. When people see you winning one day, they'll think it happened overnight. They won't see the sleepless nights, the sacrifices, the tears you hid behind a smile. They won't see the 1,000 times you wanted to quit but didn't. But you'll know exactly what it took. And that's why it will mean everything. So the next time someone doubts you, don't react. Don't argue, smile. Because deep down, you know they just added more fuel to your fire. You know that every insult, every dismissal, every rejection is sharpening your edge. They think they're breaking you, but they're only building you. And one day when you walk into the room, when your results speak louder than any words, they'll all know. Not because you shouted it, but because your life became proof. You are not defined by what people think of you. You are defined by what you decide to become. So stand up. Take your power back. You owe it to yourself, not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. Because the truth is, you were never ordinary. You were just waiting for the world to doubt you enough to awaken who you really are. Now go out there and prove everyone wrong. Doubt is your greatest fuel. Every time someone underestimates you, they hand you something priceless, energy. The kind of energy that doesn't come from comfort or praise, but from challenge, from disbelief, from the fire that burns when someone tells you that you can't. When you're doubted, you're given a choice to shrink under their expectations or to rise so high that their words become meaningless. Doubt is not a curse. It's a spark. It's the voice that says, you'll never make it, and the echo that answers back, watch me. There's something powerful that happens when people stop believing in you. It strips away the noise. It leaves you face to face with the only person who truly decides your future, yourself. Doubt is pure energy when you learn how to use it. It's the difference between those who complain about the world being unfair and those who take that pain and turn it into purpose. Every time someone doubts you, it's like they're handing you a match. You can either throw it away or you can light the fire that pushes you forward. Think about every great person who ever did something extraordinary. They weren't celebrated in the beginning. They were questioned, ridiculed, told they were too late, too different, too ambitious. People doubted their dreams because it was easier to project fear than to face their own limitations. But the ones who understood the power of doubt didn't get discouraged. They got focused. They turned that noise into drive. Every "you can't" became a reason to go harder. Every setback became proof that they were still in the fight. You have to reframe what doubt means to you. When someone says, "I don't think you can do it," that's not a reason to stop. That's confirmation that you're aiming higher than they ever dared to. Doubt only exists because your vision challenges their comfort. And when you understand that, you stop taking it personally. You start seeing it as fuel, as evidence that you're moving in the right direction. If people aren't doubting you, you're probably not dreaming big enough. Every moment of disbelief directed at you can be converted into power. But that power only ignites when you decide not to internalize it. Most people let doubt crush them because they confuse someone's opinion for truth. But truth isn't what others think of you. It's what you prove through persistence. Doubt tests your emotional strength, your discipline, your resilience. It asks you, how badly do you want it? And every time you get up, every time you move forward, despite not being believed in, you answer that question without saying a word. Doubt is like resistance in the gym. It hurts, it burns, but it builds you. If you avoid it, you stay weak. But if you push through it, you grow stronger. You start to realize that those moments of rejection, of people laughing, of people turning away, were never meant to destroy you. They were designed to prepare you. They were meant to carve something unbreakable inside of you. That strength only comes when you use doubt as a tool instead of a wound. When people doubt you, they think they're limiting you. What they don't see is that they're teaching you how to depend on yourself. You learn to motivate yourself without applause. You learn to find clarity without external validation. You start showing up not because someone believes in you, but because you believe in what you're building. That's power when you no longer need the world's permission to chase your vision. Doubt taught you that. Doubt shaped you into someone who doesn't quit. Remember how it feels when someone says you're not capable. Remember the sting, the anger, the frustration. Don't deny it. Use it. Let it drive you to train harder, study longer, sacrifice more. Let it become the silent force behind every early morning, every late night, every decision that moves you closer to your goal. That feeling is raw energy. You can either let it poison you or you can let it power you. You get to choose what it becomes. There will be times when the voices of doubt come from inside your own head. Those moments are the hardest because external doubt is loud, but internal doubt is quiet and convincing. That's when you have to remind yourself that doubt is not reality. It's a signal that you're about to grow, that you're stepping into unfamiliar territory, that you're doing something your old self wasn't ready for. When you feel that inner resistance, don't back down. Lean into it. Let it be the indicator that you're evolving. The most successful people in the world don't eliminate doubt, they convert it. They use it as leverage. They let it sharpen their focus and intensify their effort. Doubt doesn't scare them anymore because they've learned it's just energy in disguise. They don't waste time convincing anyone. They let results speak. They let action speak. That's what makes them unstoppable. They've mastered the art of transforming skepticism into strength. You can do the same. When you hear someone say you won't make it, don't take it as an insult. Take it as an opportunity. Take it as a challenge to show the power of persistence. Take it as motivation to keep going when others would give up. The louder the doubt, the deeper your drive should become. Because every doubter you silence with your success becomes proof that doubt was never truth. It was just temporary noise. You can't control what people believe about you, but you can control what you build. You can't control how they see you, but you can control how you show up. The moment you stop reacting to doubt and start converting it into discipline, you become untouchable. Doubt might start your story, but it doesn't get to finish it. Doubt isn't your enemy. It's the best partner you'll ever have in your growth. It forces you to evolve. It forces you to dig deeper, to prove not to others, but to yourself that you're capable of more than anyone imagined. It becomes the silent motivator that drives you through every obstacle, every setback, every lonely night where no one claps for you. That's when you realize doubt never limited you. It was just preparing you for a level of strength that belief alone could never give you. Silence speaks louder than words when you're chasing something that others can't see. There's power in moving quietly, in building behind the scenes while everyone else is busy talking. You don't need to defend your dreams to people who don't understand them. You don't need to explain your vision to those who lack the courage to create their own. The loudest statement you'll ever make is your results. The strongest answer to doubt is not anger, not debate, but progress. Every step forward in silence builds a foundation that words could never replace. When people doubt you, their instinct is to talk, to criticize, to gossip. But when you go silent, when you refuse to feed that noise, you take back your power. Silence confuses them. It disarms them. Because while they're waiting for your reaction, you're busy working on your revelation. You're not fighting them. You're outgrowing them. There's something deeply powerful about a person who doesn't argue, doesn't retaliate, just rises. You can't defeat a person who refuses to be distracted. You can't stop someone who lets their results do the talking. Talking about your goals doesn't make them real. Doing the work does. The moment you learn to replace talking with execution, your entire energy shifts. You start attracting attention not because of what you promise, but because of what you produce. People might not see your grind, but they'll feel the impact of it. They'll look at your success and say it happened overnight, not knowing how many nights you went to war with yourself in silence. The truth is, silence isn't emptiness. It's focus. It's a zone where the noise fades and clarity begins. You can always tell the difference between those who talk and those who do. Talkers crave recognition before results. Doers crave mastery before applause. Talkers get loud when they feel unseen. Doers go quiet because they're too busy becoming undeniable. When you choose silence, you're choosing peace over validation. You're saying, I don't need to prove anything yet. I'll let time prove it for me. Time always reveals who's real. Time always exposes who is just talking and who is truly building. Think about every great achiever in history. Their biggest moves were made in silence. The breakthroughs, the preparation, the discipline, none of it was glamorous. The grind isn't meant to be seen. It's meant to transform you privately so that when your moment comes, you're ready. The ones who talk too much about what they're going to do often drain the very energy they need to do it. The ones who stay silent preserve that energy, channel it, and let it explode at the right time. Silence is strategic. It's not weakness. It's intelligence. When you're silent, you become unpredictable. No one knows what your next move is, and that's your advantage. You're not giving anyone the chance to interfere with your vision. You're not giving your critics ammunition. You're building leverage. And the moment you arrive, they realize they can't deny you anymore. They'll pretend they always believed in you, but deep down, they'll remember the silence before your success. They'll remember when they thought you disappeared, not knowing you were preparing for a comeback stronger than ever. There's also a kind of peace that comes from not needing to explain yourself. You stop wasting your breath trying to convince people who have already decided not to understand you. You learn that silence protects your energy. It keeps your purpose sacred. It lets you stay connected to the vision without contamination from outside opinions. Because the more you talk about your goals, the more others will project their fears onto them. And fear can be contagious if you let it. That's why silence isn't just about strategy. It's about spiritual protection. The quiet grind is where confidence is born. It's where discipline is forged. Every early morning, every unseen hour, every lonely decision builds a level of self-trust that no words can replace. When you finally achieve what you've been working for, you won't even need to speak. Your results will walk into the room before you do. They'll tell the story of your effort, your resilience, your consistency. And that's a story no one can rewrite. That's the beauty of letting silence speak. It tells the truth without needing your defense. Most people seek validation because they doubt their own ability to deliver. That's why they talk. They need others to reassure them that they're on the right path. But when you're truly committed, you stop looking for that reassurance. You stop needing someone to believe in you because you already believe in your work. You learn that your silence isn't emptiness. It's evidence of conviction. It's a declaration that says, I don't need to talk about it. I'm too busy doing it. That kind of focus creates results that even your loudest critics can't ignore. There will be times when people mistake your silence for weakness. They'll think you've given up. They'll think you've lost momentum. But that's because they can't see what's happening beneath the surface. They don't understand that silence is where transformation happens. It's where plans turn into preparation and preparation turns into power. When you re-emerge, you'll be unrecognizable, not because you changed overnight, but because you were evolving quietly while they were busy talking. There's also a humility in silence that keeps you grounded. When you talk too soon, you let ego take control. You start chasing the applause before you've earned it. But when you stay quiet, you stay humble enough to learn, to adapt, to listen. You let the work mold you instead of your words defining you. You learn to enjoy the process instead of performing for approval. That's when your actions begin to align with your purpose and everything you do carries weight. Silence also sharpens your awareness. When you stop talking, you start hearing. You notice opportunities others miss. You hear the lessons in failure. You hear the whispers of intuition that tell you what to do next. That stillness becomes your secret weapon. While others are distracted by noise, you're fine-tuning your craft. You're refining your mindset. You're making moves that don't need an audience. And when it's time to act, your execution is so precise that no one can question your capability. Letting silence speak isn't about being passive. It's about being purposeful. It's about knowing when to move, when to observe, and when to strike. It's about understanding that your worth doesn't need to be announced. It just needs to be shown. Every time you choose silence over explanation, you train yourself to focus on what actually matters, the work, the growth, the result. You build a level of inner peace that can't be shaken by criticism or praise, because both are just noise, and silence transcends noise. When you finally succeed, people will talk again. They'll say you're lucky. They'll say you changed. They'll say they always knew you'd make it. Let them talk. Their words don't define you. Your journey does. Your silence during the grind will make the sound of your success impossible to ignore, because when your results speak, no one can interrupt. No one can debate it. No one can diminish it. That's why silence is power. That's why silence wins every time. Pain builds power. Every person who has ever achieved greatness has walked through pain. It's the universal language of growth, the fire that forges the strongest versions of us. Pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to strip away the parts of you that can't carry the weight of your destiny. Every time you feel pain, emotional, mental, or physical, it's a signal that something in you is being reshaped, refined, strengthened. It's life's way of building capacity inside you for the next level. The truth is, no one becomes powerful by avoiding pain. They become powerful by walking through it and refusing to let it define them. Most people run from pain because they think it means something is wrong. But pain doesn't mean something's wrong. It often means something's working. It means growth is happening beneath the surface. It means you're stretching beyond your limits, and that stretch hurts. But that's what transformation feels like. Uncomfortable, heavy, uncertain. Pain exposes you to who you really are when the masks fall off, when comfort is gone, when you can't fake strength anymore. That's when your real strength is born. You don't learn endurance in easy moments. You don't build faith when everything makes sense. You build it when the ground shakes and you have no choice but to keep standing. Pain builds patience, and patience builds wisdom. It teaches you to slow down, to listen, to learn. It forces you to pay attention to the lessons hidden inside what you're feeling. You can't get those lessons from success alone. Success teaches celebration, but pain teaches character. Pain shows you what matters. It filters out the noise. It breaks your pride and replaces it with perspective. Every painful moment you've lived through has been shaping the resilience that will carry you to the next stage of your journey. Without that process, you wouldn't be able to handle what's coming next. There's a kind of strength that only comes when everything falls apart and you're still breathing. You might not realize it while you're in it, but every tear, every disappointment, every sleepless night is teaching you something that comfort never could. Pain shows you your limits, and then it dares you to go beyond them. It shows you that you're capable of more than you thought. You start to realize that pain doesn't last forever, but what it teaches does. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, what is this trying to teach me? That shift in perspective is where power begins. Pain is the great equalizer. No matter who you are, you can't escape it. Everyone will experience it in some form: loss, rejection, failure, betrayal. But not everyone will use it the same way. Some let it break them, others let it build them. The difference lies in perception. When you see pain as punishment, you'll resist it. When you see it as preparation, you'll embrace it. You'll stop fighting it and start flowing with it. Because every time you overcome pain, you increase your power to handle life. You become more emotionally intelligent, more spiritually grounded, more mentally unshakable. Think about a muscle in the gym. You can't build it without resistance. The pain you feel when you lift isn't a sign of weakness. It's proof that you're getting stronger. Life works the same way. The weight of your challenges builds the strength of your character. Without struggle, there is no growth. Without pain, there is no progress. You can't pray for strength and then expect life to stay easy. Strength only comes when you've been tested, when you've failed, when you've cried and kept going anyway. That's the kind of strength that can't be faked or taken from you. Pain also builds empathy. When you've suffered, you understand others in a way that comfort can't teach. You stop judging people because you've been through your own storms. You learn compassion, humility, and gratitude. You start to see that even in pain, there's purpose. That even in the darkest seasons, there's something being cultivated inside you. Pain connects us all because it reminds us that we're human, that we're fragile, but also that we're capable of incredible healing and resilience. There's a beauty in pain that most people never see. It's not the pain itself, but the transformation that follows it. The moments when you rise after being broken, when you smile again after being shattered, when you believe again after being betrayed. That's where power is born. Those moments can't be taught in a book or a classroom. They can only be lived. And once you've lived them, once you've walked through your own fire, nothing can intimidate you anymore. You realize that if you survive that, you can survive anything. Pain builds confidence. It shows you your own strength. It gives you evidence that you're tougher than you thought. You begin to trust yourself more because you've seen what you're capable of enduring. You stop doubting whether you can handle life's challenges because you've already proven that you can. Pain removes illusions. It reveals truth. It clarifies what's real and what's temporary. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter because pain has shown you what truly does. When you start seeing pain as a teacher, everything changes. You stop running from it. You start learning from it. You start asking different questions. Instead of, why is this happening to me? You start saying, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? That mindset doesn't eliminate pain, but it transforms it. It turns suffering into strength, confusion into clarity, and struggle into strategy. Pain becomes your partner in evolution instead of your enemy. Sometimes the greatest pain comes before the greatest breakthrough. It's the darkness before the dawn, the storm before the calm. When everything feels heavy and hopeless, that's usually when something new is being born inside you. Pain has a way of forcing you to change direction, to let go of what no longer serves you, to step into a new version of yourself. Growth never feels comfortable because it requires you to release what's familiar. That process hurts, but it's necessary. You can't carry old versions of yourself into a new season. Pain also builds discipline. It teaches you to keep showing up even when you don't feel like it. It teaches you consistency, endurance, and focus. Every time you push through discomfort, you train your mind to operate beyond emotion. You start realizing that success is not about feeling good all the time. It's about doing what's necessary, even when it hurts. Pain teaches you control. It teaches you commitment. It forces you to dig deep when motivation fades. And that discipline becomes your superpower. Pain refines your purpose. It strips away distractions and forces you to confront what you really want. It brings you face to face with your truth. It burns away the superficial layers of ego and pride until all that's left is authenticity. You stop chasing things that look good and start pursuing things that feel right. Pain teaches you to align your actions with your values. It makes you more intentional with your time, your energy, your relationships. It builds a foundation of purpose that's unshakable because it was built in the fire. The reality is that no one escapes pain, but only a few transform it into power. Those who do understand that pain isn't a setback, it's a setup. It's the refining fire that separates the committed from the comfortable. It's the process that reveals the warrior inside the wounded. When you stop avoiding pain and start embracing what it's trying to teach you, you step into a level of strength that can't be taken away. That strength becomes your power. That power becomes your peace. You don't need permission to chase your vision, to create the life that burns in your heart, to step into the version of yourself that you know you were made to become. The world conditions you to wait for approval, from parents, from teachers, from society, from the crowd. But the truth is, the moment you wait for permission, you surrender your power. You give away the right to your own destiny. You start living according to expectations instead of inspiration. And every dream that dies, dies because someone decided to wait until someone else said it was okay to begin. You have to stop waiting for the world to clap before you move. You have to stop waiting for signs, for validation, for someone to tell you you're ready. You're not supposed to be given permission. You're supposed to give it to yourself. No one will ever fully understand your vision because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. That's why seeking approval feels so empty, because you're asking people to validate something they can't even see. They weren't in the room when the idea came to you. They didn't feel the fire that woke you up at night, the calling that keeps whispering, "There's more." You can't expect people to believe in a dream that doesn't belong to them. That dream was planted in you for a reason. You are the one meant to nurture it, build it, protect it, and bring it to life. And if you keep waiting for permission, that dream will suffocate under the weight of other people's opinions. You don't need anyone to agree with you to move forward. Agreement is nice, but it's not necessary. Too many people spend their whole lives asking for advice from those who have never walked their path and then wonder why they feel stuck. You don't need a committee to confirm your calling. You don't need to post it online for approval. You just need courage. The courage to act when no one understands, the courage to start when no one claps, the courage to believe when everyone else doubts. Courage is the permission slip that life responds to. The moment you act, doors open, opportunities appear. The world starts to align with the energy you're putting out, but it all begins with a decision. The decision to stop waiting. When you stop asking for permission, something shifts inside you. You start moving differently. You stop playing small. You stop apologizing for wanting more. You begin to walk with a sense of certainty that people can feel even if they don't understand it. You become magnetic because you're no longer seeking validation. You're operating from conviction. And conviction is powerful. It's unshakable. It's what separates those who try from those who triumph. The moment you decide that you are enough, that you are ready, that you are capable, the game changes. You begin to act like it, talk like it, live like it. The world doesn't reward people who wait politely for their turn. It rewards those who claim their place. Life doesn't open up for the hesitant. It opens up for the bold. The moment you realize that you are the only permission you've ever needed, your entire perspective changes. You stop asking, can I do this? And start declaring, I'm doing this. You stop wondering if you're qualified and start becoming qualified through action. You understand that perfection isn't required to begin. Progress is what qualifies you. Every step you take gives you the experience you need for the next one. Waiting for permission only delays the learning that growth requires. Sometimes people hold back because they're afraid of judgment. They fear what others will say if they fail, if they look foolish, if they take a risk that doesn't work out. But that fear is an illusion. People will judge you no matter what you do. If you succeed, they'll question how you did it. If you fail, they'll say they saw it coming. If you play it safe, they'll call you average. So why not do the thing that actually fulfills you? Why not take the risk that excites your soul? If you're going to be judged anyway, let it be for chasing something meaningful. Let it be for betting on yourself. You have to stop asking people for directions to places they've never been. When you share your dream with small-minded people, they'll tell you it's impossible. Not because it is, but because they can't see themselves doing it. They'll project their fears onto you. And if you're not strong enough, you'll mistake their fear for wisdom. You'll start doubting yourself, thinking maybe they're right. But they're not. They're just comfortable where they are. And your desire to grow threatens their sense of safety. That's why you can't let their opinions hold you back. You can love people and still outgrow them. You can appreciate advice and still follow your own intuition. When you finally stop waiting for permission, life starts to respond differently. Opportunities that were invisible before begin to appear. People who once doubted you begin to take notice. But more importantly, you begin to respect yourself more deeply. Because self-respect is born from courage, the courage to back yourself when no one else does. Every time you make a decision that honors your truth, you build that respect. You start trusting yourself again. You start realizing that you were never lacking potential, you were just lacking permission. And now that you've given it to yourself, nothing can hold you back. The act of giving yourself permission is an act of liberation. It frees you from comparison, from insecurity, from the need to please. It allows you to move authentically, to create without apology, to fail without shame, to win without guilt. It gives you the freedom to be fully alive, because the truth is no one can live your life for you. No one can walk your path. No one else carries the same combination of gifts, experiences, and dreams that you do. That's what makes your journey sacred. And sacred things don't need permission. They just need protection and pursuit. There will always be people who doubt you, who question your choices, who can't understand your path. Let them. They don't have to understand. They don't have to approve. Their opinion doesn't pay your bills, build your dreams, or define your destiny. The moment you stop giving power to their voices, you reclaim your own. You stop trying to fit into spaces that weren't built for you and start creating spaces that reflect who you really are. You start designing a life that matches your vision instead of your limitations. You don't need to wait for the perfect timing, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions. Perfection is the excuse that fear hides behind. Action creates clarity, and clarity builds momentum. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Every small step forward is a statement to the universe that you're ready. You're saying, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not asking anymore. I'm moving. And life will always meet movement with opportunity. The truth is, every person you admire, every leader, every creator, every innovator, reached a point where they stopped asking for permission. They stopped caring if people approved. They stopped doubting whether they were ready. They just began. They stepped out in faith, made mistakes, learned, adjusted, and kept going. That's the process. That's the price. No one ever gave them the green light. They gave it to themselves, and that's exactly what you must do. There is power in self-decision. There is freedom in self-trust. When you no longer need permission to be who you are, you become unstoppable because you're no longer driven by fear. You're driven by purpose. You don't need someone to tell you you're ready. You decide it, you declare it, you live it, and that decision alone is what transforms potential into reality. Prove yourself right, not them wrong, because the truth is, when you're constantly trying to prove others wrong, you're still living for their opinions. You're still letting their disbelief define your direction. You're still giving your power away to people who never earned the right to shape your destiny. The real power comes when you shift the focus from them to you, when you stop chasing validation and start chasing growth. It's not about revenge, it's about revelation, revealing who you truly are beneath all the noise, the doubt, and the judgment. The goal isn't to silence them. The goal is to awaken you. There's a deep difference between external motivation and internal conviction. External motivation comes from the need to prove something to others. It burns bright but fast. It's fueled by ego, and when the applause fades or the critics stop talking, that fire dies out. But internal conviction, the desire to prove yourself right, that's different. It comes from a place of purpose, not pride. It's rooted in your belief that you were made for more, that there's something inside you waiting to be expressed, built, and lived. That kind of motivation doesn't disappear when people stop watching. It grows stronger in silence, in solitude, in the struggle that nobody sees. When you live to prove others wrong, your energy gets scattered. You start doing things for attention instead of alignment. You react to opinions instead of responding to your calling. You measure your progress by comparison instead of conviction. But when you live to prove yourself right, everything shifts. You stop chasing validation and start building evidence. You wake up every day asking, how can I honor the person I know I can become? That question alone will drive you farther than any criticism ever could, because now you're not fighting against doubt, you're rising in faith. Proving yourself right means remembering who you said you'd become when no one was watching. It's holding yourself accountable to the standard you promised yourself you'd live by. It's about self-respect, the kind that doesn't come from what others think, but from knowing you showed up when you didn't feel like it, stayed consistent when it was hard, and didn't quit when it was lonely. It's about living in alignment with your own potential. When you do that, you start to feel a deep peace that can't be shaken by opinions or outcomes, because you know you're walking in integrity with yourself. Every time you make progress, every time you overcome a challenge, every time you grow through pain instead of running from it, you're proving yourself right. You're proving that your belief wasn't misplaced. You're proving that your vision wasn't crazy. You're proving that the voice inside you that said, you can do this, wasn't lying. That's the quiet victory no one talks about. The moment you realize you don't need the world to recognize you because you finally recognize yourself. When you focus on proving yourself right, your actions come from love, not bitterness. You're not fueled by anger toward others, but by commitment to yourself. You're not trying to show them what they missed. You're showing yourself what you're made of. That shift creates a different kind of strength, calm, confident, unshakable. You don't waste energy on drama, on competition, on proving a point. You invest it in your craft, your vision, your purpose. You start to move like someone who doesn't need to be seen to know they're significant. There will always be people who misunderstand you, who underestimate you, who misjudge your intentions. Let them. Their misunderstanding doesn't define your truth. Their disbelief doesn't cancel your destiny. You're not here to convince them. You're here to become. The more time you spend explaining yourself to others, the less time you spend becoming the version of yourself that doesn't need explanation. That's why proving yourself right matters, because it shifts the focus from reaction to creation. You stop explaining and you start expanding. When you're focused on proving yourself right, you take full responsibility for your life. You stop blaming others for what you don't have. Stop waiting for someone to rescue you. Stop complaining about circumstances. You realize that everything you need is already within you. The talent, the resilience, the courage. And the moment you start acting from that belief, your reality starts to change. Because the world doesn't respond to what you say you'll do. It responds to who you become. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe you deserve and are willing to work for. Proving yourself right requires patience. It's not about instant results or quick wins. It's about consistency. It's about doing the work every single day, even when no one's watching, even when progress feels invisible. It's about trusting the process long enough for the results to catch up. Most people quit because they focus on proving others wrong, and when the applause doesn't come fast enough, they lose motivation. But when you're proving yourself right, you're not waiting for anyone to clap. You're driven by something deeper, the quiet promise you made to yourself. That's what keeps you going when the world is silent. The real victory comes when you no longer care who believes in you because you've learned to believe in yourself. That belief doesn't come from affirmation, it comes from evidence. Every small win, every difficult decision, every time you rise after falling, you're building that evidence. You're teaching yourself that you can trust you. And once you trust yourself, everything changes. You move differently. You speak differently. You no longer seek validation because you've already validated yourself through action. It's easy to let doubt take over when things aren't going your way. It's easy to question your path when progress is slow or invisible. But proving yourself right means remembering that your timeline is yours alone. You don't have to rush to match anyone else's pace. You don't have to compete with anyone's version of success. You're running your own race, and the only thing that matters is that you don't stop running. Every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you're becoming who you're meant to be. Proving yourself right means letting go of resentment. You don't need to carry the weight of proving someone wrong to stay motivated. That kind of energy keeps you chained to the past. The people who doubted you aren't your enemies. They're just reminders of how far you've come. When you forgive, when you let go, you create space for growth. You stop living in reaction to pain and start living in alignment with purpose. You start realizing that your success doesn't need to come from spite, it can come from peace. When you wake up every day and decide to give your best, not because someone's watching, but because it's who you are, you're proving yourself right. When you stay disciplined even when motivation fades, you're proving yourself right. When you choose growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure, faith over fear, you're proving yourself right. Every choice becomes a declaration that says, I believe in me. That's the energy that builds empires. That's the energy that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. The truth is, you were never meant to spend your life proving anyone wrong. You were meant to evolve, to grow, to expand into your potential. You were meant to become evidence of what happens when someone chooses self-belief over self-doubt. When you live from that place, your success becomes inevitable. Because proving yourself right is not about ego, it's about authenticity. It's about living in alignment with the truth that you are capable, you are chosen, and you are enough. And once you truly know that, no one's disbelief can touch you.